tell you what, guys, when we get to April, I want to crack this one by now. No more technical issues or anything like that. Even Gills fans, do you ever get the feeling that it's not going to be your day? That's what we felt, a lot of us, on the 80th minute yesterday, when another Gills chance went begging. I don't think any of us saw what came in the end, as Walsall hit 3 goals in 15 minutes to come away with 3 points. Whether it was deserved remains to be seen, but we created chances, we spurned chances, got a little unlucky in places, but there was some encouragement amongst supporters. However, ultimately, the team folded in the last bit of the second half, and Walsall got some pretty easy goals in the end. Not only that, but a possibly serious injury to new captain Liam Gordon has left a lot of fans feeling a little bit gloomy after the first game. So who better than Dave and Alex to stick the knife in this evening to talk about the game itself? Dave, thanks for being a late caller.
So I assume James has been sacked, has he?
He's been sacked, yeah.
Or has he gone to help Dom just in case?
Cultural differences. Yeah. Just disclaimer, he hasn't been sacked. He's under the weather. So yes, there we go. Dave, let's start with team news, as we often do, because obviously we were aware that we'd have another keeper wearing the number 40 shirt in Ashley Maynard Brewer. Played a little bit more than he did for us a few years back. It was announced prior to the game that Liam Gordon would take the armband, as we expected him to do. The other 2 changes saw Robin McKenzie, removed for Armani Little, which was, I guess, a bit of a surprise. And Will Goodwin partnered Ronan Hale up front in place of Seb Palmer-Holden. I'll ask you, Dave, specifically around one of those changes, and that was the Little change. Because of the fact that he missed a lot of pre-season, were you surprised to see him in the first 11?
I was incredibly surprised because, we didn't think he was fit anyway, and he's missed a lot of pre-season. And as it turns out, it looks like it was a big mistake. That being said, I thought he did okay. He looked quite good for the first, however long, 20 minutes or so he was on. And we're led to believe it's a couple of weeks, a strain or something, isn't it?
Does that show too, Dave, that Gareth sees Little as, probably one of his first choice players, if, the fact that he wasn't fit, but he still was selected?
He was one of the ones that escaped the cull, and I think a lot of fans wouldn't have been surprised if Armani Little was part of the players that were shown the door. He was last year's captain. I'll say something for Ainsworth. I thought he made a tough decision, very tough decision in taking away a captaincy from him. I think that was quite a brave decision. He could quite easily have sort of bobbed. It's not the right word, but you know what I think. You know what I mean. I thought he and young Alvarez dovetailed quite well for the time we were on the pitch. We looked fairly solid, and then he just sort of went down, didn't he? He just innocuous. There was really nothing in it. He looked absolutely devastated, distraught, and off he came.
And I'm surprised because the mantra throughout pre-season, Dave, has been, preserving players, making sure that you're not risking them unnecessarily in pre-season. A lot of youngsters have been given game time because of that. So to then play him, who it might have been a gaffer unfit enough to play, but at the end of the day, you have to make that decision, don't you, as manager and as coaches, to preserve him if he's not.
I think he spoke a lot about leadership, Ainsworth. Yeah. And I mean, look, you got Beckles in there, you've got Gordon, you got Armani Little. All leaders, some in inverted commas, some not in inverted commas. Supposedly,
Alex boiling over there.
Yeah, supposed leaders anyway. And you've got and that's pretty much what we've lacked. And when we lost 2 of them, when things went against us, you saw what happened.
Alex, you're going to unfortunately cover off the injury to Liam Gordon. Looked a bit innocuous at first. Having looked at it back from various angles, it does look quite serious. Obviously, we saw the photos after the game of him in the leg brace and on the crutches. You'd hope that potentially it could be something that is mitigated, but how much of an issue may that be? Just for we'll talk later on about the long-term impacts, but just for him in that game, we saw him put in a crunching tackle on the halfway line that got a lot of people G'd up and thought, this is our this is our leader here, and then 10 minutes later he's walking off the pitch. What do you make of that, and how that impacts our short term?
Yeah, I think that challenge in the middle of the pitch, it made me feel things. That's a saying I like to say quite a lot. It made me feel very good things, shall we say? I knew straight away that it was a nasty one. Obviously, I sit right behind the goal at the top with the riff-raff, if you like, and all of us around me were like, that's nasty. He's landed very nastily. The only thing you can really hope is that it's not anything too sinister, and it is just a case of hyperextension. A couple of weeks out, just needs to rest it. I would like to think that if they suspected he's done his ACL, they would have stretched him off and not let him walk off. But you never know with our medical team. So you never know. But in that game, I think we really noticed it when we went 1-0 down. And I think for 20 minutes, maybe after the injury, 15 minutes after, we looked a little bit shaky. But then we came out in the second half and we looked a good side. We looked the better side, and I'm sure we got onto that. And then it is really when we concede that first goal and we capitulate, where you're looking at, okay, if Gordon's in there, are we going to capitulate and concede those goals? I don't think we do. I don't think we probably concede the first one. I think we go on and win the game if he's in there. But that's hindsight, and we've got to look at the squad and think, if one man's getting injured, two, if you include Armani Little, we're going to capitulate like that. Are we really in a good spot? No.
Yeah, and it did give us kind of references and flashbacks, didn't it, to the last or second half of last season, where we were just something went against us and it was done. Dave, let's go back though to the sort of the way the game kind of the first half came into life, because it did take a little while, as we probably would expect to on the first day of the season, in as far as league is concerned. But towards the end of the half, it was the Gills that made all the running. Had some good chances. I think 3 chances in the same space for sort of 3 or 4 minutes. You should count Goodwin's effort as well. So, yes, they might have been from distance. Hale had a go from distance that he likes to do, and Brophy hit the crossbar, and Goodwin hit the crossbar as well. Almost one of those things, isn't it, where you don't want half time to come. But Gills fans could have felt quite encouraged, couldn't they, at that point?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we had the 3 chances in quick succession. Also, as well, at the beginning there was a really good ball in, and I think it was from Harris, and I think Goodwin just got a touch, but not enough on it. And it's interesting there. Someone's put in the comments he thought Walsall were a very good away team. For 70 minutes, they really weren't. They were absolutely bang average. Yeah, they were clinical at the end, but there would have been no complaints if they were 1 or 2 goals down at half time, 3 or 4 down with 10 minutes to go. There would have been no complaints. Maynard Brewer did not make a save.
No.
Until even the scramble on the line. He pounced on the ball. He did not make a save until I think the last 10 minutes. It was an absolutely mad. I mean, I turned round to my daughter and I said, "Yeah, it's not going to be our day today." When Goodwin hit the bar in the second half, and when the first goal went in, I suspect the players thought that as well. It's not going to be our day today, and they just heads went down. We just crumbled.
Yeah. And Alex, that was going to be my question to you. You'd expect maybe the flurry of chances in the first half to come and go, and then Walsall come back into it. But actually, Gills were the one in the second half that made the running again and created even better chances with Goodwin's one that flashed wide that he really should have scored. Maybe had too much time to think about it and to try and pick his spot. But then we had Hale had a chance too, and Goodwin hit the bar as well. And at that point, were you just of the opinion that this is going to be it? This is either going to be a 0-0 draw, or I said to the guy behind me, I said it's going to be a 1-0 away win. He's just had that feel about it. But was that your viewpoint as well?
Yeah, I think as the game went on, it looked more and more like it weren't going to be our day. I think encouraging part is we created so many chances. I've not seen us create that many chances in a game in months, if not a good couple of seasons, to be honest with you. I mean, it was good that we created so many chances, but I do think we have to be more clinical. We can say it looked like it weren't going to be our day. However, could we have done better with some of those chances? Goodwin, the one he flashes wide, let it run across your body, you're right-footed. The one he hits the bar with, I think he does get unlucky. Hale, I'd argue, and I know that I'm not paid to play professional football. He goes across the keeper, but he's opened his body up to show the keeper he's going to do that. It's not a great save because Hale's told him he's going to do that with his body shape. Can you get back into the near post? And the one that I think kills us just for half time is James Brophy. He's levered that as hard as he can. He's through 1-on-1. Why are you hitting that as hard as you can? I thought you were brilliant throughout the game, but just have a bit of composure, a little bit of placement. And yeah, it went against us and it weren't our day, but we also need to be better in certain situations for it to be our day.
Yeah, and there was one too. I think it was a bit of a scramble on Kadeem Harris gets the ball stuck in his feet and tries to, even there, just a little flick or a deflection off of somebody else, it goes in the back of the net, and it's lucky almost, but we would have merited, I think, that luck. But I guess the combination of making the wrong choices, but then not having the composure, obviously has shot herself in the foot there. And Dave, in terms of that, you don't take your chances, you don't win games, do you? And ultimately, then something happens that we couldn't defend against, and that was, if you look at the individuals involved in the goal, the first goal, and I'm going to ask you both about kind of the goals as a collective unit, because they all seem to come from defensive frailty, switching off, not being first to the ball. But the first goal itself, I think, if I'm looking at Andy Smith, for example, he's looking at the play, he's not following up on the play, and then Isaac Moore, the goal scorer, just sort of goes in and scores. That was a theme, I think, for the 3 goals. It was a very static Gills defence. Your thoughts, Dave, on the goals and how they could have been avoided, and is there a symbolic issue there where we're just not fast enough to read the play and to pounce on something, a loose ball?
Can I answer Ben there, first of all?
I can't, to be fair, I can't even see the comment. I put them really small.
I need to look at the stats of the game. Well, I tell you, I don't need to look at the stats of the game, Ben, because I actually watched the game. They created all their chances in the last 10 minutes. They had nothing before that. And if you think they created as many chances as us during the first 80 minutes, mate, you can't have been at the game. I'm sorry.
It was very equal, but as you said, the flurry of chances that they had.
The quality of chances we had. Our keeper didn't make a save. Anyway, on to their goals. It was just a quick break. I think Freeman should have had a shot, and they just broke very rapidly. Simple ball came in, and I'm sorry, Alex. McKenzie put no challenge in whatsoever, and it was a good header across the box. Simple tap in. Second one, I think it was Smith that was ball watching, wasn't he?
He certainly was for goal number 1.
It's just a collective night. Do you know, the first goal went in, and there was no real. You could see the body language on the play from the crowd, the players, even Ainsworth, and you just thought, there was nothing. There was no oomph in the play. Defensively, again, it was another simple goal. I'll not lie to you, I missed the third goal because I was standing up because bloke next to me stood up to go, and I stood up and I missed it. But I saw again, it was just switching off.
So they've gone to hold it in the corner and thought, hang on a minute, no, we actually could go for one here, and then Precious just ghosted in and scored. And I think the goals collectively had very similar parts to them in that respect, and it was frustrating, obviously, because it was just a knife in the gut, wasn't it? Don't score your chances and then 0-0 when you're sort of frustrated, but okay. But to lose by 3,
it was never a 3-0 game. Look, we walk away with a 1-0 defeat and go, we were robbed. But 3, and yes, I know it's a 90-minute game, Ben. Thank you very much for pointing that out.
I think I'm going to move because the comments I tried them, but they're obviously derailing a lot of what you're thinking, Dave. So
I suspect Ben is somebody else. I'm gonna put that out there.
Okay.
And I think Alex knows. Yeah, I think Alex
yeah.
I can't even see it. So, Alex, your thoughts on the goals themselves? Obviously, you might have similar viewpoints to Dave there, but were there concerns that the game turned so quickly after that first goal? There was no real fight back. It was just Walsall pressure, relentless pressure from Walsall, and they grabbed the momentum after that. Gills couldn't get anything going, could they? It was just Walsall for the last quarter of an hour.
The concern, obviously, with goals 2 and 3, I think the third goal was a quality header, to be fair. And if we concede at any other point in the game, you're congratulating him. I think goals 2 and 3 are just we've given up, and that's quite concerning. The first goal, I think Dave's right. I think Freeman's just got to shoot. It's a bit of hesitancy, gets stuck in 2 minds, takes a touch, which is awful, and then just loses the ball, and then it's collected from there. No one paints himself in glory. Apart from the keeper, I'll be honest with you, I don't think it is a header back across the goal, Dave. He heads it, and the keeper saves it, and then we're just switched off. So he does well, to be fair to him, but we're just it's so Gills, isn't it? It's just so Gills, and I just look at us and think you've just got to have confidence there. Even if Freeman puts that into Rose Ed and the rain, and then we reset, we get back defensively.
Yeah.
You know, it's one of them where I'm looking at him thinking, yeah, McKenzie has to do better. Yeah, Smith has to do better, but it comes from a mistake from Freeman, who I've made my feelings pretty clear on him. We've got to stop playing a right wing back because he ain't the right wing back, and it's killing us in moments. And that's where Walsall can take their plaudits from the game. I don't think they were very good. I agree, they were bang average up until the 80th minute. But their plaudits can be when they got their chances, they took them. We didn't.
Yeah, and that's the bottom line, really, isn't it, guys? Dave, in terms of the result, let's try and fill the glass up half full and look at it that way. The result stinks because ultimately it will just be looked at, won't it, as a really good away performance and a sort of a thrashing for the away side, but really it wasn't the case. But the result on the last 15 minutes aside, that will dominate a lot of the reaction. But was there pleasing aspects in, you know, the chance creation, that sort of stuff?
Absolutely. And listen, I mean, I didn't go on social media last night because I knew what it would be like. And I was pleasantly surprised, actually, because I thought most people were actually quite balanced. You know, pointing out how well we played. And then I think the fundamental point was how we just collapsed in our first goal. And then I thought the actual criticism was quite balanced, apart from maybe 1 or 2 people who, you know, the world's over, you know. But the chance creation, I thought Alvarez looked good. I thought Brophy looked absolutely sensational for the middle portion of the game as a 10. I thought he looked great. When Hale had his shot just before half time, that seemed to breathe more life into him, and he actually looked like centre forward.
Yeah.
I thought Goodwin and Hale were played quite close to each other. That they got better and better as the game went on. And I think when Goodwin went off, that's when we dropped off in terms of chance creation. I thought Goodwin was good. Okay, a couple of maybe bad misses, but he was a massive improvement than what we've had up there. Combined Andrews and Vokes, you know, I thought he made chances. You know, Andrews and Vokes never made chances. Hale looked lively. I don't think he had maybe a clear-cut chance. Brophy was excellent. Alvarez was excellent. Kadeem Harris for 20 minutes looked a really good player. And I just think the glass is half full. And Walsall, I've said on the preview show that Presley and Smith were good players, and they were good players. They picked us apart at the end. And hopefully next week against Fleetwood, touch wood, they're not going to have the clinical nature that Fleetwood had, and we won't fold like a deck of cards. But Alex was bang on about half time. You know, I think half time came at the right time for us. We reset. Obviously, the manager got into them, and we came out, and for 25 minutes, that's the best I've seen us play. I can't remember us playing that well, genuinely in a spell. I mean, Chesterfield maybe, I don't know, but
almost a year ago. Then, yeah.
Exactly. It was good. It was good, but it's a points game. It's a results business. We've walked away with nothing, and we've walked away with a 3-0 defeat, and it tastes bloody horrible.
Yeah.
1-0 I'd have swallowed and gone, do you know what? We're unlucky. It weren't our day today. Walsall, we played them off the park for most of that game. They took their one chance, but to capitulate like we did in the last 10 minutes, that's you can't not take that away. That's the takeaway, fundamental takeaway from the game. Forget the defending. You can break all this down. It was the capitulation, and it was exactly like we saw too much of last season.
Yeah.
And that is the worry for me. Have we lose Armani Little and Gordon, and we've got no spine or backbone.
And on that point, Alex, Gareth mentioned about trying to replace Sam Gale, looking for somebody in that department. Obviously, that hasn't happened yet. When Dave was asked about it before Luton, he said that a centre-back with pace was fundamental. We needed to have somebody with pace to kind of offset against the likes of Beckles and Gordon and co that don't really have the pace. We potentially may have lost Gordon now for a long time. If it is the worst-case scenario, it could even be a season ender. Now what? Because realistically, now we've got 3 proper centre halves in the squad. Mackenzie can fill in there as well if he needs to, but we need more. We need someone different because I like Logan Dobbs. He would take some time to get into it. I like Andy Smith to a degree. You don't like Emma Beckles at all. I understand that, but they need someone else in there alongside them. So what do we do now in terms of centre halves? Do we need to assess the Gordon injury first of all, and then look in the market, or do we need to, regardless of that?
I wasn't aware Ainsworth said that because I refused to pay £5 to listen to the press conferences. Just want to get that one in there. But I was very much in the mindset of we didn't need another centre half until obviously Gordon got injured. I thought, and this kills me to say, Mackenzie can't play in that middle in this formation. So I'd list him as a centre half in this, and with that and Gordon being fit, I'd have been happy with that. However, now he's injured. I think we need to assess that, see how long it's going to be. If it's going to be any more than sort of 2 months, then we need to go out and get someone in on loan or get something in the door. And a centre mid, I'd say that we needed a centre midfielder rather than a centre half, to be honest, to replace Mackenzie so he can go back into the back line and obviously to replace Little now.
Yeah, and instead, it was nice to see some senior players back on the bench. McLeary and we obviously didn't get on the pitch, but we are starting to get to the point where we need to make those decisions about who we bring in and how many gaps in the squad that we can replace. There may still be outgoings in terms of loan deals, perhaps for some fringe players. Obviously, there's some players still not back yet at all.
It's interesting, though, that at the forum, Ainsworth said players like Freeman, McManus, the other lad, the right wing back we got, Tavares, can play anywhere across the back, centre halves, and Freeman can play midfield, and that's what he was saying about players who can cover. So I'm not. I guess the Gordon injury is going to force his hand to get a centre half, but I think I agree with Alex. I think that if Gordon doesn't get injured, we're not bringing another centre half in.
Right.
Because and I don't think he'll bring a centre midfielder in. I think we'll get a centre half. I think he'll move Freeman into the middle. I really do. If Little's out for a period of time,
I just feel that with a centre half, obviously we're very much set up now to play a certain way with that. And I think you need to have the 3 centre halves to accommodate the lack of pace in Beckles and Smith to a degree. If you start changing that week on week, you get to the same point as last season where you had a back 4 one week and a back 3 the next week, and you had different players in different places, and just gets too inconsistent for us to actually line up and sort of have an identity in that defence, which was obviously is key for us. Dave, first of all, let's look at the. You mentioned a few players already. Let's look at the man of the match for you. Who stood out for you as your number 1 candidate? Any other honourable mentions for you?
I thought the sponsors got it right yesterday, Brophy. I thought he was excellent yesterday. Alvarez had a good game. I thought Goodwin and Hale, without maybe pushing those 2 players for man of the match, I thought they were solid. And you know what? Harris, you can't really, apart from the last 10 minutes, you can't really say anyone had a terrible game. It was really weird. It was a terrible 10 minutes, but not a terrible game. And yes, I know, Warren, the game lasts for 90 minutes. But the issue is that we've got this set of players now, and you look at our bench yesterday, it was apparent game changers. And I thought the substitutes actually killed us.
Get in. Sorry, I got so much stick for that yesterday, Dave.
Yeah.
Oh.
Alex,
you're right, mate. You're right.
On that at all?
Sorry?
Does Alex want to enhance on that at all for us?
Yeah, I mean, look, I got so much stick in the chat that we have for saying that the changes killed us. They did. How can anyone look at the game and say they didn't? Brophy was ineffective at left wing back. We lost our main creative threat. But I forgot Gareth Cleary even came off the bench. Like, what did he do? Why is he coming on and centre attacking midfield? It's jobs for his mates yet again. I thought that the changes we made were probably the wrong changes. And also, they made us weaker, like 10 times weaker. We didn't look like scoring. So how can we say they didn't? Yes, it's individual errors that come for the goal, people being lazy, fine. But the way we were playing completely changed. Our best player up until that 80th minute was James Brophy. So we moved him. It made zero sense to me. And Harris was playing fantastic.
Coming at left wing back and then keep Brophy in there because Connor would have driven us on the left-hand side a little bit more. And at the point where we had to attack, he would have abandoned his defensive issues, instincts to a degree, and given us a natural left-footed. I do feel that Harry sometimes he naturally comes inside, doesn't he?
Look at Ali's comment there.
I can't see it; it's too small, mate.
We had McManus on the bench.
Exactly.
He's bang on, and you are taking off your left wing back. You put McManus on. Come on,
yeah.
We banged on for so long. Round pegs, round holes, right? And he puts Brophy, the most attacking threat. He takes off Goodwin, which fine. He might have absolutely run himself into the ground, but the ball was sticking. He was making himself a menace. He was getting in and around, getting close to Hale. I don't think that Palmer Holden had a touch.
He had one. He had header that went wide.
Did he? Of course he did, yes. It was so memorable I'd forgotten it, yeah. But you're right, Alex. The substitutions killed us. We maintained the formation, but we didn't have the right players, effective players in that formation.
I still think that Gareth needs to play wide. McCleary, if he's going to come on, he needs to be. I would have personally done. Obviously we had to make 2 changes early for injuries anyway in the first half. But McCleary, for me, if we are in that situation where we need a goal, I wouldn't play him there from the start, but put him on the right wing, right wing back / right winger, and let him go at the winger, put a cross in, and see what we get. But he's not. He plays better with space in front of him, whereas he's not going to get any of that in the 10 at all.
Yeah, absolutely.
Personally.
I mean, Scoops has just said, as you can't see the comments, Scoops saying, why play players out of position in the first game of the season? Doesn't get it. And also in the number 10, you've got Antwi, as Ali said. Come on, you've got round pegs to put in these holes. Come on, what are you playing at? And it is mental. It's absolute. It's frustration, and I don't know about you where you were sat, but when he did it, there was a lot of, let's call it head scratching. What the hell? We had the momentum. We were on the front foot, and it just absolutely like a prick in a balloon. Bang.
And it isn't the first time, is it, that we've discussed substitutions having an adverse effect on our momentum. I'm sure it won't be the last time, but it did seem strange, didn't it?
I get it, but put the right players on in the right position. Brophy's not a left wing back. Brophy was causing them all sorts of problems where he is. If you're keeping him on the pitch, you keep him in that position, right? Because you've taken off Goodwin, you've moved Brophy, you've moved Harris, all were effective, and it's absolutely killed our momentum. It was a fundamental change, and put 3 players on who were cold in key positions where we're dominating the game and creating chances, and it just wasn't the same, was it? It was just there.
Yeah, we can look at the defensive aspects and how those 3 goals were scored, but if you think about the 80th minute onwards, how many attacks did we have? It was almost like we lost the momentum at the back, but also going forward too. And if you lose one, you can almost hope that the other one pulls you through. But if you lose both defence and attack, yeah, what happens is going to happen. Cool. 1 down, 45 to go. As far as that's concerned, we've got lots more to look forward to. Obviously, there'll be cup games as well. But as far as league games are concerned, it's not been a very good start. We currently sit 23rd in the league, thanks to Rochdale, who are propping up the rest of us. But yes,
alphabetical order.
Back-to-back home 3-0 defeats in league and cup. However, a different kind of frustration this week to last week, as the Gills had enough chances to win the game themselves before things fell apart late on. As Dave said, we go to Fleetwood on Saturday, one of our many long away trips. I'm sure there'll be a great following despite that. Obviously, rather go there probably in the summer than you would do in January. Waiting to see news about key players and injuries and all that sort of stuff. We'll be back on Thursday for another pre-game review of our game against the Cod Army. Until then, thanks to Dave and Alex. Thank you all for watching, and come on, you Gills.